huge number of folks here. I love doing this. Please shout out your school. What school are you representing? What borough are you representing on this lovely day? We got people from the Bronx. We got people from Queens. I see Brooklyn in there. All right. The chat is going nuts. Thank you everyone for joining. We will get started very shortly. You already have questions. Questions in the chat. Oh man. This is going to be a good time. Thank you everyone for joining us. I know everyone has a lot of different professional learning opportunities. It means a lot that you've joined us here today. We're going to get started very soon. Yes, please drop in what school you're representing, what borough you're representing. Far Rockaway, I see you. Very exciting here. And we'll get started very soon. I would love for this to be as interactive as possible. So yes, feel free to share info in the chat, what school you're representing. We have some interactive questions coming up. We're gonna break 600 participants. We're probably gonna break Zoom today. Hopefully not. See Cardozo in there, very nice. A lot of folks from Cardozo in here, very cool. All right, all right. Bronx, Far Rockaway, very cool. All right, team, you let me know when you're ready. We can give it a minute. Okay, all right. I guess we'll record then. All right, everyone. Okay. Make sure we're recording here. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Awesome. Folks, thank you so much for joining us today. November 5th, Election Day, Professional Learning, Leveraging AI Tools to Improve Efficiency. Thank you so much for sharing, representing what schools you're representing, what boroughs you're representing. You're in for a treat today, everyone. Before we dive in, let's take a moment to get everyone familiar with who's going to be facilitating this session. Folks, my name is Santi Karasamy. I'm the founder of a company called Project Recess. Thumbs up if you ever attended one of our sessions in the past. Our organization's mission is simple. We support schools in leveraging technology to support learning. We've been partnering with New York City Public Schools for over 10 years. And it's been an awesome, fun, wild ride. And I'm very happy to be here leading this session on AI. So like many of you, I've been fascinated by the potential of AI to transform education. And I'm happy to share all the stuff that we have prepared for you. So a little bit more information about my company, Google for Education partner, strategic edtech planning, and yes, we've been focusing a lot on AI. Yes, you will get CTLE credits. Don't worry, we're going to email you the deck. We're going to send you the form for all of that. You will get CTLE credits. And I'm not going to be mad if you ask that in the chat later on. It's fine. But yes, let's collaborate after the session. Would love to learn more about what you all are doing. And I'm not alone today. Joined by the remarkable digital learning and innovation team. I'll let them introduce themselves and talk about the work they're doing.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jasmine Manna. I'm the Director of Instructional Programs and Professional Learning. Glad to be here with you all today, supporting you in this work.
Hi, my name is Johanna. I'm the Program Manager for the Digital Learning and Innovation team. Jocelyn and I work closely together to help put on really engaging, exciting PD events like today. So our team sits under the Division of Curriculum Instruction, which is under the Division of School Leadership. And specifically, we focus on a couple of things, but mainly we try to support AI and digital literacy across New York City public schools. And we focus on educators, like all of you here today, school leaders, and students. So we have programs that kind of target each of those groups. And specifically, we try to do this through professional learning programs like today. We have District Points meeting, which Jocelyn helps run with some of our leaders in the districts. We have some innovative pilots and leadership trainings, like there's one happening today for Copilot in the Microsoft Office. So those are just a couple of the ways that we try to support AI and digital literacy here at NYCPS.
Thank you so much. So yeah, really amazing team here and really amazing content that we're going to go over on AI. So here's a brief overview of what we're going to be going over. We're going to start with a warm-up activity to help us get in the right mindset of today's session. Another brief overview of what to expect, just setting some expectations. We're going to go over some common AI terms just to make sure that we're all familiar with the language that we're using today during this session. And then we're going to go over into the meat of the session, the AI tools to support administrative tasks. And when we say administrative tasks, we mean non-teaching duties that still relate to teaching and learning. And then we're going to get into how these AI tools can support lesson plans. And lastly, what we've all been like super excited and waiting for guidance and information about data privacy. Very exciting stuff. Let's begin with our warm-up activity. I love asking people this question, so please share it in the chat. Let's make this chat go nuts right here. So please tell us about a technology or innovation that you thought was all hype at first, but has now won you over. So please, for this question, we're gonna put it in the chat. I saw indoor plumbing. That's the best one yet. That's when you think about it. I'll share. I was never a big fan of smartwatches until I had a kid, and then I thought this was like the best way to communicate with my wife and request for diapers and backup if there was a blowout or bottles or whatever. My kids hide my phone every day, and my watch helps me. It saved years of like looking for my phone. So I'm a huge fan of the smartwatch. Johanna, Jazen, I don't know if you guys want to jump in on this also.
Yeah, for me, it's the Google Home. My husband's very into having a smart house, which I watched the movie Smart House growing up, so I was not into it. But I have a parent who's visually impaired, and so the smart house really, really helps because he can ask, what's the weather like today? What's going on in the news? And he can kind of interact with it. So I love it from an accessibility standpoint.
Thank you. Jazen, did you want to share? You okay? Okay. I'm seeing AirPods in the chat. Like, who remembers untangling your headphones on the train? I've probably spent years of my life untangling headphones. Really great things, folks. Thank you so much for sharing all of these like wonderful technology innovations that you believe have supported your life. It's super interesting to see how technology can evolve over time, how we adapt as people, and how we find unexpected value. So we ask that question to hopefully get in the mindset that like we find something similar with these AI tools. I know many people, myself included, still learning how to use these tools, apprehensive about using them, but unexpected value. Yes, we're hoping to show a parallel there. So an overview of this session, as I mentioned, so we're going to talk about these main things here, how the New York City Public School approved tools will enhance teaching and learning, streamline your administrative tasks, and hopefully we all develop a better understanding of the NYCPS guidelines and ethical considerations when it comes to using these tools for teaching. All right. Shout outs to folks that had a CD player. I'm seeing that in the chat. So common AI terms, pay attention. There may or may not be a quiz at the end. So the first one, obviously, artificial intelligence. This term has exploded over the past 2 years, especially with the introduction of ChatGPT, which is still not 2 years old yet, which is crazy how everything's changed. We hear this term all the time. Myself, I don't know if I could like truly articulate what it means, but in the context of this session, AI refers to computer programs that complete cognitive tasks typically associated with human intelligence. Examples of this are these icons here that we're all familiar with. And the thing is, AI has been around for a very long time. Yes, it's exploded in popularity within the past 2 years with things like ChatGPT, but AI has been around for a long time, using things like Google Maps, digital assistants. I love the AI features in the photo apps that we have now, where you can search, we can type in something like, a forest, and it'll pull up all the pictures that you have of that. Pretty remarkable. And then personalized playlists in music platforms. So we've been using AI for a long time. Now, generative AI is what, many people have been talking about for the past few years. This is a type of AI that can generate new content, such as text, images, other media. Again, things like ChatGPT helping individuals create things like lesson plans, modifying emails, etc. Even images, I don't know if many people here have tested out using image generators. So that image right there on the slide, the one on the right, actually won an art fair. When these like AI image generators came out, and it caused like this huge conversation on what is art. Again, we're going to share this slide deck with everybody. There's links to different resources in the deck. Next, large language model. Who has heard of large language models, before 2 years ago? Was that part of your vocabulary? Wasn't part of mine. Now we're hearing it, many places. This is referring to things like ChatGPT, like Gemini, like Microsoft Copilot. These are models that are trained on large amounts of text. And folks, when I say large amounts of text, I mean every piece of writing that's on the internet. And when you think about that, that in itself is mind-blowing. Every web page, every book, every social media post, every text on the internet, these systems are trained on that. Again, mind-blowing. So that's why these things know a lot about a lot of things, but also might get some things wrong, because not everything online is true, believe it or not, right? So examples: using Microsoft Copilot to update your email draft to make the tone sound more professional. I do that all the time. So that's a large language model. And usually what works with that is this idea of a prompt. At this point, I think many of us educators are using systems like Microsoft Copilot, submitting prompts to help us. So a prompt is a method for interacting with these AI tools in the form of a question, etc. So we'll be talking about this. There are recommended ways to format your prompt, and there are ways that are not the best. It's important to just test it out, see what the outputs are. Here's an example of a prompt. So it's structured in a certain way, right? It begins, I'm a high school social studies teacher. Then it's talking about asking for 5 open-ended discussion questions. And then, the question should be thought-provoking, etc. Yes. You all will be getting the slide deck. We'll be sharing all of this, and you will be getting CTLE hours. So that prompt, again, is formatted in a certain way. And that way, we're going to be using this PARTS framework. And PARTS is defined as persona, aim, recipients, theme, and structure. Again, we'll be sharing this slide deck. All of the resources will be on there. This particular framework, I think, does really well with ensuring you're getting the response that you're looking for when you're using these AI tools. And this was taken directly from the brand new Generative AI for Educators free course that's online. It's a course developed by Google and MIT to help educators leverage AI for their teaching and learning. Again, a free course. There's going to be links to it in the slide deck. You get a really great certification, and it only takes 2 hours to complete. You don't have to do it all in one sitting. Personalized learning. Just real quickly, should prompts be written all at once? It's really up to you. You could do it, but I think it's good to treat these AI systems like having a conversation. I typically never get the best response right away. I usually go back and forth with the system to make sure that it's, I'm tweaking it and like getting the right response. So keep that in mind when you're prompting. You're typically not going to get the best response right away. You want to go back and forth with it. Personalized learning, this is the unicorn that like many education companies have been chasing, this idea of tailoring instruction and learning experience to meet individual student needs. We're all teachers here. We all have, many students, and all of them are at different skill levels. How can we leverage these tools to help take our existing resources, lesson plans, and make them more personalized for our students? These tools can do that. We're going to go over a little bit of how to do that. Magic School is one of the approved tools that teachers can use. Thumbs up if you've used Magic School in the past. So an example, using Magic School to create personalized learning paths for each student through customized activities, right? All right, cool. We got some thumbs up. People using Magic School. Do they have a bus? I heard the CTO is Miss Frizzle, so we'll leave it at that. Next, bias in AI. Now we're getting into sort of the like the philosophical aspects of AI. So bias, this is interesting. So this is when AI systems produce unfair or inaccurate results due to bias in data. You know, human beings in general, we have our own biases, and these systems, for better or worse, are trained using that. So here's an example. So there's an approved tool called Adobe Firefly, where instead of generating text, you use text to generate images. I did this the other day. I typed in the main character of a story, and it generated what looks like all men. As we all know, you know, women can also be main characters of a story. There are so many other individuals who can be main characters. This is what the images represent, and that in itself has bias in it. You know, even like these characters coming from certain backgrounds, like we should be aware of how these systems are trained, what output is coming out. And we as educators, you are the experts, we are the experts. We need to ensure that this is the information that we want to share with our students, that it's ready to be shared with them. Okay. And again, you can go back and forth. Yes, tailor the prompt, but we all should be aware that there are some biases that are in the training data of these systems. With that, ethical AI. So essentially, this is related to what I was just speaking about. Just making sure we're using AI in an ethical manner. So an example of this, you know, before sharing a personalized resource, make sure that you're checking it, that it doesn't include bias, and if it does, make sure that you're tweaking it, making sure that it's safe to use, appropriate to use with students. And this relates to this term, human in the loop. Thumbs up if you heard this before. Essentially saying that humans should be actively involved in the process of training and using AI, right? So examples, teachers review and refine the content. And in terms of implementation, students can be using the tools, but with a teacher's guidance. You know, I've had conversations with many teachers being fearful about this technology, thinking they're going to be replaced. I don't believe that. I don't think teachers are going to be replaced by this, but teachers who use AI will outpace those that are not using it. And we should all be making sure that we all are part of this system of using AI. Humans in the loop, HITL, yes. So that concludes the vocabulary aspect. There's way more vocabulary in regards to this, you know, new technology. If folks are interested, we've linked some resources at the end that we're going to be sharing. There's a glossary from Google. There's a really great nonprofit called AI EDU that has some terms also really great for personal development. Yes, if these terms are new to you, that's understandable. Like these are fairly new terms that many of us are talking about. And there's further reading. We'll link those as well. So I'm going to launch a poll here. And hopefully folks see it. Of all the AI terms we just discussed, which one did you find the most intriguing or potentially useful in your classroom, and why? And also, feel free to submit an AI term that we didn't go over that you feel like you want to learn more about, maybe something else that you've been hearing also. So again, we want this to be as interactive as possible. Please feel free to answer the poll. So of all the ones we just discussed, and there were many, which one stuck out to you? Which one did you find the most intriguing? And yeah, this will be insightful for us to help tailor where our next professional development sessions are going. Please respond in the poll of which terms I went over you thought was most intriguing. Was it humans in the loop? Was it bias in AI? Ethical AI? Okay. Yeah, I'm seeing people really interested in taking words and turning them into pictures. Yeah, those are really interesting platforms here. So I'll leave the poll up for a little bit before I close it. I know people are answering that. But in the meantime, we're gonna move forward a little bit. All right. And then we're going to jump into, actually, okay, I'll give it another. A lot of people are answering. I'll leave it up for a few more seconds. And then we'll jump into this next one, which is AI for school administrative tasks. And again, when we say administrative tasks, we're referring to non-teaching duties that still ultimately support teaching and learning. You don't have to necessarily be like a school leader or administrator, but these are for admin tasks. And the first one that we're going to talk about is related to social media posts. I don't know if anybody here is in charge of the social media, accounts at their school. That's a big job. That's why, being a social media manager is its own role. I personally, struggle with social media in terms of like not knowing what to post, but AI tools like Magic School can really support with that. So here's a screenshot of Magic School. If you've not used it before, again, it's approved by New York City Public Schools. So you can absolutely single sign on to this platform with your at schools account. And this is what the interface looks like. What I love about it is that there's a bunch of suggestions on how to start using these AI tools. And one of the things here I highlighted in the red rectangle, social media posts. So if you were to sign into Magic School and click on that, you would get an interface like this. So this is where the prompt is. You can click on exemplar and it pre-populates with a prompt, but you could also modify it to more fit your needs, right? So I created this prompt in there. So remember thinking about the whole like parts framework. I identified who I am. So I'm a principal. I want to create a Thanksgiving post to share with families. The message should express gratitude. But here, it should also include a Spanish translation. All right. So I added that in the social media post and the tone should be warm. So I put that into Magic School. Anyone can do that too. You hit generate. And then on the next slide, it gave this post. Apologies if it's a little bit on the small side in terms of text. Again, we're going to be sharing this slide deck. But if you can see it, it breaks it down by social media platform. All right. So we have Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. It has the post. It has the Spanish translation. It's got the emojis. It's got the hashtags. That's all there. So again, a big way that this can support teachers is that you're not starting from scratch, right? So like maybe, as a teacher, you got a lot on your plate. Let's say you're in charge of making a social media post for your school. You don't know where to start. So you can start here and then continue to further tweak it to fit the needs of your community, the voice of your school. Yes, this tool is free. There are paid tiers of it, but you can start doing all this for free. So then the idea, you would copy that text and then paste it into your school's Twitter or Facebook account. Okay. Yes, languages. Yeah, you can type in different languages. It supports a lot of different languages. So in this example, I just had Spanish if I go back, right? So it just says include a Spanish translation. You could add something else. You could add one of the other languages and it'll do that. So again, we're showing you what's possible. We encourage people to start experimenting with this on your own. Magic School is a really powerful tool. Also within Magic School, so that was by clicking on the social media post option on the homepage. Also within Magic School, on the left side, there's a chatbot, again, very similar to ChatGPT, Google Gemini, etc. So their chatbot is called Reina. A lot of these companies are choosing names that have the letters AI in them. I get it. Cool. So you can use this chatbot to do the same thing, right? So I'm including this to let you know that there's more than one way to use these tools. You could click on that pre-generated option on the homepage, or you can go straight to the chatbot. So if I click on the next page again, I pasted the same prompt in there. I'm a teacher. I need this social media post, and it did the same thing. This particular window is slightly different because at the bottom, there's a read aloud option. And I think that's really great in terms of an accessibility standpoint. So I was toying around with this the other day. If you click on read aloud, it would just read the entire, it's a screen reader essentially. You would read the entire thing to you. So again, more than one way to get that information. Okay. I'm gonna end the poll right now. Actually, maybe my co-host can help with. Thank you so much. So yeah, really exciting things. Definitely check out Magic School to help with social media posts. Next, flyers and posters. Again, so I know many of us as educators are responsible for creating, a flyer for a parent-teacher conference or etc. Canva has been a game changer for that, right? Like not everybody, is a graphic designer, but like now you can create really great tools in Canva. And so you can get these templates, but at the same time, you can use AI tools to help with the actual text for the flyers and posters. So for this particular one, we found this really great template on Canva for a food drive. So you got that up on one screen. Then you can open up Microsoft Copilot, which again, that is IRMA approved, meaning it's safe for you to use with your @school's email account. Microsoft Copilot works very similarly to ChatGPT or Gemini or what have you. Works very similarly, but it's safe for us to use as educators. I put in this prompt in here, right? I'm the principal of this school, Springfield Elementary. Shout out to anybody who watches The Simpsons. I want to create a Thanksgiving flyer. I have some details, and then the next page, it gives me information that I can include, all right? And so what I outlined there, I would just copy that, and then I would put it into my flyer, copy and paste it into the flyer. Again, you're not starting from scratch. You're using these tools to help you sort of like beef up the existing information that you're giving it. And so, yeah, this is a game changer in terms of like helping out your process, your administrative tools here. I don't think Copilot is on the Teach Hub dashboard per se, but if you Google Microsoft Copilot, it'll come up. Perhaps somebody can put the link in the chat. But yeah, thank you. So keep an eye out on the chat. Again, we're going to share out the deck, the recording, the resources where you can use this. But Copilot definitely works with your @schools account. So again, like that works really great. You can just use these AI tools to help craft, what message you're wanting to share with your community, and then putting them in these flyers and posters. Next, this is really cool also. Many of us as educators, work with families that speak other languages also. So that means like, how can we make sure that our resources are accessible? Adobe Express is still free for educators. This is in Teach Hub. So if you log into Teach Hub, there's a link for that for you to log into Adobe Express. This is pretty interesting. So similarly to Canva, you can find templates for different documents. What's great about this is that there's a built-in translation tool. And so I'm going to switch to a different tab over here. Hope people can still see my my window here. So I have my Adobe Express document. All right, so I'm out of the slideshow. I'm in Adobe Express, and I have this template that I found on there. It's in English. I added some of my school information in there. Okay, but hey, my school works with families that speak other languages. What can I do to translate? Well, there's a nifty translate button up here. If I click on that, it's going to bring up this window, and it's going to have a drop down. It's going to ask me, what language do I want to choose? And there's a bunch of languages in here. Maybe I want to do Filipino. Shout out to my fellow Filipinos out there. French, German, Greek, Hindi, Haitian Creole. You got a lot of things on here. Japanese, Korean. Okay. So I'm just going to click these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I just chose 6 languages. I'm going to hit translate. I'm going to let the magic of the internet do its thing. And then once it's done, you'll see that it took my one document that's in English and it automatically translated it into these same documents. I see that mabuhay in there. Very nice. And then I have all these different languages on here done already. And so what's interesting about this, let me go back to the trend. what's interesting about this is that it maintains the tone of what you were saying. So that is, in my opinion, what's different about using, like Google Translate, copy and pasting, going back to this. This did it in like 10 seconds, right? If not less. And so you can download these. I highly recommend taking this and like making sure that it's still accurate. Find somebody that does speak the language, make sure that it's right. But again, this is a really great way to save time. It still maintained the design, the visual design of the original flyer, and then had all the translations in there, right? So I don't know if we have any French speakers, but this is what it looks like in French, etc. Again, double check it. But in terms of like not starting from scratch, I mean, that was pretty cool. I got all the languages here already. Okay. Oui. All right. Very nice. Going back to the slide deck. So definitely check that out. Adobe Express. You can sign into TeachHub and there's an icon to sign into Adobe Express. You can test it out all for free. Next, organizing notes. So this is something that I've used personally. I'm a terrible note taker. So, whenever I attend like a session or something, I look at my notes and I'm like, I have no idea what I just wrote. So that's kind of the scenario here that we're pitching. So the scenario is Mr. Perez wants to organize his notes more effectively. He copies and pastes them into Copilot with the following prompt. Again, using the structure that we suggested. I'm a 6th grade science teacher. I attended a workshop on PBL. Help me organize my notes, summarize the key takeaways and actionable steps. So what would that look like? Okay, so in Copilot, you have your prompt, and there's different ways to do this. You could actually copy and paste your raw notes if you had them typed up, and you can put them in there, or you also have the option in Copilot to upload a document, and that's a game changer. The fact that you can upload a document into Copilot for it to analyze and synthesize is really interesting. So I have my prompt, I put in the raw notes, and then the output is this. All right. So it has, like the main takeaways. It has the, inquiry-driven learning, the topics, and then the notes of like what's related to that topic. So again, I do this personally. I have like a running record of just like interesting articles that I've found online with some notes, super messy. But then like, yeah, you could put this into an AI tool and it'll help organize it for you. Copilot, again, I don't think it's in TeachHub. I think that if you just Google it while in your at schools account, it should show up. I think it's like copilot.microsoft.com. But yeah, you should be able to log into Copilot that way. And again, really great tool to start interacting with a large language model. Okay. Also, what I love about using a tool like Copilot is not only did it take my messy notes and make them more organized, it also gives you references at the bottom. And not every AI tool will do this. And so it organized my notes, and then it's suggesting these links at the bottom. And these are all live links, right? Like live links to different PBL resources, because that's what the example was. And I could use this to further, support the notes that I took. So I think that exactly, citing sources, like very, very cool stuff. Okay, so moving on to best practices, it's this idea, I don't know if people have heard this before, garbage in, garbage out, right? So if you put in like a lazy prompt or, not that much data, like of course, the actual response that you get from these tools is not going to be great. So as somebody mentioned in the chat, you want to go back and forth. You want to be as specific as possible when you submit the prompt, or you got to go back and forth and continue to feed it with details, right? So instead of assuming the AI tool always provide an accurate analysis, you want to ensure that your notes and data are unbiased, complete, and clear, okay? And I saw somebody mention into the account, okay, people are familiar with GIGO, garbage in, garbage out, very cool. I know somebody mentioned in the chat that these things can hallucinate. That's another term that's been very popular within the past 2 years. Essentially, a hallucination is when an AI tool gives you something that's inaccurate, right? Because many people say that these AI tools. They're like a very advanced predictive text, right? And so it really doesn't know what it's writing, but it's generating what you think is a great response to it. So all this to say, you want to make sure that you're reading the responses and checking them, right? And submitting like a very detailed prompt, right? Garbage in, garbage out. You want to go back and forth with it. Quality source material. Next, instead of using vague prompts like write feedback for teacher observation, which, I've used vague prompts in the past before. Again, you don't always get the best responses. Instead, please try providing specific details, context, as much detail as possible, grade level, etc. And when you do that, you start to get responses that are more in line, more related to your original question. Okay. I've had many conversations with teachers that say, "Oh yeah, I don't like using ChatGPT. The responses are not great." Well, I'd be curious to know what the prompts were in terms of that. All right. Moving on, more best practices over relying on the AI and directly copying its output. Instead, please try it as a starting point, right? Especially when it comes to feedback, personalizing it and using your own insights. So in relation to feedback, I've worked with many teachers that, will take some student writing, but making sure that it doesn't include any PII, personally identifiable information, or any personal details like that. Copying and pasting some of that information into something like Copilot, and then asking for, suggestions on grammar and all that. And again, you are the expert as a teacher. You know what voice you're trying to, share with your students, what feedback they're looking for, what feedback is actually helpful. These tools can really help streamline that, give you some ideas, maybe find some new, insights into that writing that you might not have catch the first time. So you can really think about these tools as like really efficient personal assistants. That's how I've been using it in my own work over the past 2 years. And like, it really has been a game changer in terms of that. Like I myself, I'm not the best writer, but I will take my poorly written email, put it into a system like Copilot, and it'll help me with grammar revisions. And then it'll help me be a better writer because I know what I'm looking for next time. So yes, extension of your teaching, as Johanna put in there. Very nice. Staying on this idea of like analyzing text and data. So like I showed you in the Microsoft Copilot interface, there's like an attachment, like a paperclip icon, so you can attach something to it. So like that option is pretty interesting because you can upload like large documents. So for example, this is the state of Wyoming's district document on artificial intelligence, use and policy. Many pages, technical text. Yes, I could sit down and try to read it. I could also upload it to Copilot and have it help me make sense of it. So that's something that you can do also to support the work that you're doing. So I have the prompt there. I'm a high school teacher. Please provide a concise summary of this document. And then as you can see at the bottom, it's giving you some takeaways from that. I want to emphasize this is not for copyrighted curriculum. If you have curriculum that's open source, yes, feel free to upload it, but you want to be mindful about the stuff that you're uploading to these systems, but again, I think it's something worth trying because just to see how these systems can like analyze and summarize this data, it's pretty remarkable. The time we're living right now for these things to help us understand this content. Okay, that was a lot. Absolutely drinking from a fire hose during this session. Okay, share your learning. So we just discussed how AI can support social media posts, flyers, posters, translations. What example did you find the most interesting and why? Thank you so much. Please add this. Please take a minute and respond to our poll. Okay, we are halfway there, or 20 minutes left. And I'm going to leave this up as we go, but please, yeah, what example did I just share? Did you find the most interesting and why of these topics that we have here? So I went over social media posts, flyers, translations, analysis, synthesis. Which one do you think is the most interesting? Which one do you see yourself using today, tomorrow, the next week? Please respond in the poll, not necessarily the chat. Thank you so much. Let's continue. All right, AI for enhancing classroom lesson plans and classroom activities. All right. Again, many of us have spent a lot of time trying to create personalized resources for our students, differentiated resources. Difficult to do when you have a lot of students, okay? So the challenge, middle school teacher, you want to do that using the solar system, but yeah, you might not have enough time to do that for your, 30, 35 students. So what can you do? You can use an AI tool to take your existing materials and help generate different reading levels while maintaining the core information. So what would this look like? So I have a prompt here that's from Microsoft Copilot. Analyze the following text. Let's say as a teacher, I want to know the Lexile level. All right, so this is from the New York State Next Gen Science Standards. The Earth and its solar system are part of the Milky Way, etc. Okay, so I'm asking it what's the Lexile level. All right, the next one, Copilot is telling me the Lexile level is the range of that. Again, folks here in the audience, you're experts in this. You let me know if that makes sense. But it's also providing those different resources, different links in there. And so then check out the next prompt, okay? So I want to revise the text to be suitable for a student in the second grade, include the Lexile level range. And that's what it responded with. So it took the original text, it's modifying it to be different Lexile levels. It's telling me what the range is of that, okay? All within this chat. The next prompt, again, I'm going back and forth. This is a conversation. Now that I have that, I'm going to ask it to create a glossary and study questions. So now it did that. It has the glossary. It's got the study questions. Again, this is an extension of your teaching. This is an assistant to you as an educator. This works in real time. I encourage folks to test this out, take a few minutes, when you have some time today, open up Copilot and just test it out. If you're an ELA teacher, and you're familiar with the Lexile levels, go ahead, test it out, see how that works for you. Yeah, this is all within Microsoft Copilot. I'm just going to switch real quick to here. So we are in Microsoft Copilot. Let's see what this looks like in action. So this was the actual prompt, okay? I can start from the beginning just to show everybody in real time. So I'm going to copy and paste this prompt and just start from the beginning. So I'm going to start a new chat. This is Microsoft Copilot. I'm going to paste that chat or that prompt in here. Same thing, analyzing the following text. What's the Lexile level? I'm going to submit it. All right. Copilot's quote thinking. And then, oh, this is interesting. It's asking me to use a Lexile analyzer tool. So keep that in mind. Sometimes you won't get the same one. You can always push back against it. Give me your best guess on the Lexile level. All right, so you can push back, and there we go. So based on the sentence, it's estimated to be around 1000 L to 1100 L. Okay, so you can go back and forth. And then if I go back to that original, that original chat, I had all of that information. I'm gonna go back to my slide deck here. It has all of the glossary and the study questions. So again, test that out. Yeah, Copilot is a Microsoft tool, but there are many tools that are like it. We're focusing on Copilot because, again, we want to focus on tools that are approved to use within our schools. All right. Formative assessment. So what does this look like? The challenge, you have a diverse group of learners with various levels of understanding. You want to provide formative activities. So what does that look like in practice? So this is a prompt that you could use. You could put this into Copilot. I'm a fourth grade teacher. On the water cycle, generate 3 formative activities. Okay. And again, I have a chat here on the water cycle. And so this is a copy of my chat. It was all pre-done just for time, but I put that same prompt in there and it gave me this. All right. So first of all, it's giving me praise. Sounds like a great plan. It's giving me activity number 1, water cycle diagram. It has the objective. Let me see if I can increase the size of it. It gave me this right away. Another activity, and then my third one, all from this prompt that I put in there. Again, if you're not experienced using this before, the big takeaway, just start experimenting with it. See what the limitations are. Again, don't forget, you're the educator. You have the expertise. You can vet whether this is a good activity for your class or not. You can always modify to make sure that it does make sense for your class. All right. All the chats, all the conversations you have with Copilot are saved there on the side. But that's one way you can use this for a formative assessment. The next one I think is really interesting, rubrics. Who has spent a lot of time making rubrics, right? So the challenge, making rubrics from scratch, time consuming, how AI can help. You can help generate rubric frameworks with suggested criteria, all right? So I'm going to move over again. I'm gonna go to Copilot just real quickly about rubrics. So I have the same prompt here. So it created this rubric, all right, in like this text structure. But I think we're all familiar with rubrics being organized in a table. Okay. So I responded to this and I said, update this so it's in a table. And then it did. Okay. So now it's in a table and you can download this as as an Excel file that you can upload to Google Sheets or something else. But keep that in mind. It doesn't always have to give you text. You can ask it to format it in a certain way. So in this case, I asked it to format it in a table. Many teachers get excited about that. When I first saw that, I got excited too that it can create these rubrics. Again, emphasis on you are the expert, and then you should make sure that the rubrics make sense. All right. All right. Moving on. Okay. Yeah. So these are some example prompts that you yourself can use. Okay. All right, let's make this interactive again. So which AI tool for enhancing lesson plans and classroom activities do you believe has the greatest potential to impact student learning in your subject area? Okay, so of all the things that we talked about, which ones do you think has the greatest impact for you as an educator? Please feel free to put that in the poll. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see what that looks like. Copilot. All right, I see some options in there. Thank you. All right. So for the issue of time, we're gonna move forward, okay, into AI guidelines, data privacy. All right. We've talked about this before, things going through the IRMA process. Okay, so again, that's the poll. Please share with us. Okay, AI guidelines and data privacy. So what is IRMA, as opposed to, it's not a person. It stands for Enterprise Request Management Application. Essentially, this is New York City Public Schools' way of making sure that the software that you're using, the software that's approved, is safe. We're living in a time of data breaches and et cetera. And like, that's the last thing we need with our data, especially our student data. And so IRMA is a process where third-party software goes through to make sure that it's safe to use with New York City schools. Again, we're going to share this slide deck out. There's links on how to access it. But if you didn't know, you got to go to DIIT's EdTech portal. All right. That's where many people go to register for upcoming professional development sessions. A lot of our sessions are on there. There's a section that says IRMA. You can check vendor compliance. So many schools, they're like, hey, there's a tool that I want to use. Can I use it? I don't know if it's IRMA approved. This is where you go to see if it is. All right. You sign into that. And then you'll see a list where you can search. So here at the top, I searched Canva. Canva has completed the IRMA process. So if it says completed, you're good to go. As you can see, ChatGPT, Google Gemini still in process. Mentimeter, non-compliant. Might not recommend using that. Okay, so definitely please check out the IRMA website to make sure that the tools you're using are safe. I know it's so tempting to use like a brand new tool that you heard about, but if you're gonna do that, do that on your own account, do that on your own time. When it comes to using your school account, student data, please, it is highly recommended to stick with the IRMA approved applications and platforms that are found on this list. So current approved AI tools, Copilot, Magic School, etc. That's on there. More are coming. More tools are being approved every day. ChatGPT, Gemini are in progress. I know a lot about the IRMA process intimately. My company created a professional development tool called Playground Learning. We went through the IRMA process, and it only took a calendar year. And I say that with much sarcasm, but also to emphasize that this process is serious. I had to have my team talk to the team at DIT, make sure that we're not collecting data, that we're being safe with our data. So yes, it is a serious process, and it is here to ensure that we are all safe. Okay, data privacy. Essentially, again, these AI tools, we don't know how many of them work. That's why we're recommending a curated list. But we want to emphasize a lot of these systems, they sound so accurate, but you want to make sure that the content is accurate. So please review the output. Always prioritize student privacy. If you're copy and pasting information and putting it into an AI tool, please make sure that the names are not there. PII, personally identifiable information is not there. I know when I do that, and I'm using placeholders instead of a name, I'm putting maybe just like a letter or an initial, and to make sure that all the information is still like very general. Age restrictions vary per tool. Please make sure that, if you're using this, many of these tools are really meant for you to use as an educator. Some of the tools are meant to use with students. I know Magic School has an option to use with students, but there's an age minimum there. Please be mindful of that. And lastly, yes, please avoid uploading copywritten materials. These are all best practices in there. All right. So lastly, what is one key takeaway from the AI guidelines and data privacy that you will keep in mind when exploring these tools? Okay, these things that we talked about in regards to data. What's something that you will keep in mind? Something that's top of mind for you? What will you keep in mind when using these tools with your students? Please share in the poll. A lot of people. Thank you very much. All right, we have some time. I'm very excited we made it to the end. As you are answering that poll, thank you so much. We're close to 200 people answering the poll already. We have a survey here, okay? Please take a minute to fill out this survey. If you have a smartphone, feel free to take a picture of the QR code, scan the code. Johanna or Jasmine, if you could please put the link in the chat. Please take a minute to answer the survey. Research has shown nobody does surveys after the session ends. I speak from experience. Let's take a minute to do this survey right now. And then if you need CTLE forms, I will put one in the chat right after you're done with that survey. So let's take a minute right now, fill out this survey.
And just to chime in, so this is how we track attendance. So for everyone who's saying, oh, can I get an email confirmation from my supervisors, or can I get the resources from today? The survey is exclusively how we'll be sending out that information to make sure we're sending it to people who attended today and not just people who signed up. If you're having any issues with it, then please put it in the Q&A, not the chat, but in the Q&A, and Jocelyn and I can support you. But this is our only way of verifying your attendance. So please make sure. And to sign in, you need to sign in through your DOE account. So you just sign in through either your school's account, or you can sign in through your personal Gmail if that is giving you a hard time. It's just whatever medium that you'll get the information from us.
Cool. Some people are saying they can't access the link.
I don't know why.
Double check. It says can't sign in. All right, well, we'll see if we can get that. Hold on.
Yeah, I'll put the tiny URL,
Oh, okay.
see if that helps.
Here, I'm gonna put the actual, yeah, wait, let's put the actual link in there. Okay, hopefully well, thumbs up if you're able to get the the survey to work. I want to make sure that, okay, all right, cool. It's working for some folks. We'll keep trying it. We'll make sure that, oh, do they need to be signed into their DOE account?
Yeah, you
Oh,
have to send it, yeah, to your school
okay.
list.doe.
Thank you. Thank you. I know this happens sometimes. You might be using a different browser, maybe signed in through a different account. Please make sure you're signed in with your @schools account to access that survey. Lastly, I'm going to drop a link in the chat. And again, we're going to email everybody with these links and resources, the recording as well. CTLE, I'm putting in the chat. It's going to get lost. Maybe I can pin it. No, I can't. Okay, but I just put it in the chat, a link to the CTLE form. And again, we'll send this out. You fill it and then fill it out, and then I'll send you your CTLE form. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So, do we have time for Q&A? Should we check?
Yeah, you do.
Okay. I don't know if there's a question that maybe you think is worth bringing up. I haven't had a chance to take a look at it.
So there's a question about the IRMA process, specifically
Okay.
Quizlet. One person says Quizlet is a great tool for students to learn foreign languages. It's still in progress. I'm assuming that means the IRMA process. And if we have any ideas on the time frame. Unfortunately, we don't, and we don't really have much sway in the manner or in the matter, but what you can do is find alternatives. So when we send the deck, there'll be instructions, literally what Santi just walked you through, you'll be able to navigate and you can look up any alternatives that maybe provide the same services that Quizlet does, but it's already IRMA approved. But they can take anywhere from a couple months to longer. And it's just because DIIT wants to do their due diligence in making sure that something is safe.
I saw in the chat someone was asking about using AI to analyze Excel documents. Like, I believe you can upload that to Copilot and then it'll analyze it. I would encourage you to try that. So if you have your Excel document, maybe
Yes,
upload the work.
typically that works with a paid account. So if you have M365 Copilot, which is the paid version, I know some districts are purchasing it,
Okay.
and it'll do the Excel analysis work for you. Just not
Yeah.
through.
Very cool. Thank you. So yes, definitely try that.
The
Okay.
title for today's session is leveraging AI tools. So it's the one that, yeah.
Okay.
is that one.
Thank you all so much. Again, we're going to be sending out this this slide deck. Please sign up for the DLI interest list. There's links on there, those vocabulary lists from Google, AI EDU. Thank you so much. If you want to get in contact with me, my name is Santi. I'm from this company, Project Recess. There's my email. Feel free to scan that code if you're interested in reaching out and seeing how we can collaborate with your school or or organization. Thank you, everybody. This was a lot of fun.
I see a question in the chat about school DBN. Typically, that's what you put in like a per session document. So for example, if you're in District 6, you can be 06M, the borough, and then whatever number your school is. So like 528, 06M 528. That's your DBN.
Jocelyn, were they asking about DBN or DOB?
No, they're asking about DBN number.
Okay, because does the form, Santi, does your form ask for a date of birth?
It does for the CTLE one, only
Yeah,
because
for the CTLA. I saw that.
it's asking for both DOB and DBN.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you have any questions about the form, feel free to send me an email. And again, all of this will be coming at you straight in your email inbox. But I want to thank you all. Thank you so much for joining us. We had nearly 1,000 people on today, which is crazy. Jaslyn, Johanna, thank you so much. You both are wonderful. DLI is doing amazing work. And thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, and should we close out? There's like 20 more questions. Do we want to close those out before we?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just mostly about logging onto the feedback form and CTLE. So I think we're good. Thank you
Yeah.
all again for joining us.
Sorry, Santi, before you end it. So if anyone is still having a hard time getting into the form, then in the Q&A, because the Q&A downloads, right, Santi?
Yes.
In the
Yes.
Q&A, can you just put your school email address and then we'll be able to reach you. So let's keep it open for a couple more minutes for anyone who.
Absolutely. Cool.
And CTLE is the survey that Santi had up. So I don't know,
Yeah.
Santi, go back to that
I
slide.
put it in the chat. It's in the
Okay.
chat.
Well, is it lost?
Yeah, it's lost. Should we pause the recording? Stop the recording?
Yeah, we can pause.